If you want to build any kind of wealth and don't want to be just dependent on your job forever, then this is a really important one for you to listen to. So, in the budget last week, there was some important changes to capital gains tax, and I think it's important to get a bit of a quick history lesson and understand why and what's going on. So, there's a reason why your grandparents bought their house for a block of cheese and a handshake, and then your parents bought their house for the price of a car, and now you're buying your house for $1 million if you can afford to do it, or otherwise just feeling left out. So the reason is compounding inflation on the rate of property. For the last 100 years, Australia's property prices have gone up an average of 7% per year nationally, but in key areas, the prices double every 7 years. So your parents thought their house was expensive, your grandparents thought their house was expensive. Now we definitely are feeling it. But the reality is that in 20 years from now, our property prices, like you think about $1 million house now, that house will cost between $4 and $8 million unless something changes. So the government's taken steps to help reduce this. Two different steps they took. One is removing the negative gearing tax deduction for losses, and the second is removing the capital gains tax discount. Really important one because they didn't just remove it on property, they also removed it on shares. So when you're talking about young, ambitious people that don't see property as an option anymore, they might not ever own their family home because it's well out of reach already. The debt repayments would be enormous. So what they do now, they feel like their only option is, well, at least I can build some wealth for my family if I invest in shares, which is what you should do. Dollar cost average into shares over your whole lifetime. Now, for young investors and young people that want to get ahead and not be reliant on their wage and to build a level of comfort for their family and their future generations, this is an important one because this feels like it was one of the only levers we had left. If we look at our dollar cost averaging and we say, all right, well, I can't afford a property, but I can put aside $40,000 into shares per year for the next 20 years. Hopefully, in 20 years' time, that will compound enough for me to be able to retire off. My calculations have that coming out as about $4 million. Keeping in mind that $4 million in 20 years' time won't be worth the same as it is now. You might be thinking, great, I've got $4 million. I am 50 years old and I can finally afford to buy my family home outright. We've already calculated that a normal family home will probably be $4 million in 20 years' time. You've got $4 million that you've managed to accrue through shares without building up a loan. But here's the kicker and what you should be annoyed about. The government has removed the capital gains discount for shares as well, which means when you go to sell your $4 million worth of shares you've been able to accrue, you will pay about $1.7 million in tax. You will only be left with 2.3, and that only gets you half a home in 20 years' time. So this is a real kicker for the young generation because this felt like one of the only levers we had left to build wealth. What you can do is be loud. Share this, comment on this, be loud with your government, be loud with the politicians. We need to make a bit of a noise so that this doesn't pass in its current state and they amend this section. Stay tuned for day 7.